Hey, it's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, with another absolutely awesome review slash recap for Kamen Rider Geats episode 23. Holy shit! Like, it's a thing in a lot of Rider seasons, even Sentai to an extent, where there's like a midway through switch up of the plot where it's just this huge shake up that happens, this big revelation for a character or for the status quo and how things are going. And there's a big flip and things that happen. It happens in a lot of seasons. With Revice, it was probably the defeat of Gifu going into Oteka and all that stuff. And I want to talk about Saber. 01 was some of the mid-level stuff, like the stuff with Thauser and him taking over Hedon and all that. So again, certain seasons really kind of flip things around and change up the status quo and how we know things work. This sort of formula for the episodes and everything. And this is definitely one of those episodes. So, as we know from last week, the DGP is on hold, indefinite hold right now, because of Chiram getting his vision driver taken. So, essentially, Niram, or whatever his name is, the gazer, and the one other lady, which they still don't give a name to, task Ace, Kawa, and Neon with going to the Jamato Forest to get the vision driver back from Beroba. And so at first we're like, why are we going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they essentially get forced to. Ace actually tells them, like, I think you should just straight up give us more information about what the hell is going on. We have so many questions. What happens to riders when they die? What is the true purpose behind the DGP? Where is this audience and these sponsors from? Like, lots of different questions. They really don't even answer them. But we get something eventually, and we'll get there. So, anyway, so we do get more with the Jamato team, if you will. Daichi and Michinaga kind of questioning things and wanting to know more about, well, Michinaga not so much, but at least Daichi wanting to know more about her and what her goal is and whatever. And same thing with Arca Metal, and she kind of is like, here and there giving details, but not really. We go away and we come back and she reveals something to him and he seems a little shocked and she goes, you still want to work with me even though that's what the truth is. He goes, I don't care who you are or what your goal is at all. I'm using you to get my wish of defeating every Kamen Rider. So he still doesn't, that's just where his focus is right now. And it would seem that the zombie buckle seems to be holding back the infection of the Jamato buckle, so that it doesn't have as much control. I mean, it's not too much, because clearly he has that growing infestation on his hand. But enough to where it's not taking over his mind by any means. So, we also get a scene where she uses the vision driver and does get to where the goddess, the desire goddess statue is, and she tries to ask for a wish, and nothing works. And then here comes Niram, who is like, well, that doesn't work. She goes, well, why? He's like, well, you have to have proper access to it. The vision driver alone isn't it. You need the proper access to be able to do that. And she's all pissed about it, whatever, and she leaves. He kind of just scoffs at it, whatever. Jean actually goes to the Jamato Forest as well, meets up with Ace. He said, I want to help you, blah, blah, blah. I saw you were getting involved with this, and I think, I need to step in and help you here and there. He's like, well, really, a sponsor on the battlefield? Are you sure about that? And he's like, well, I'm a Kamen Rider too. Because he hasn't seen him transform yet. We did see him last week transform, but he hasn't seen it. Geats hasn't. So we get this really awesome sequence of Ace and Jean getting to henshin together, which is cool because they both do a, snap for part of their henshin, and fight together. We see Jean actually fighting, which is really cool. His fighting style is very quick. It's very, very much plays into the whole Fox aesthetic as far as being quick and sly and on your feet and trying to figure out how you can maneuver the battlefield. He also seems to have, and this seems to be a thing for most of the sponsor riders, power over gravity. So there's a lot of time where he uses the laser raise riser to shoot at some of the enemies and will damage them, but if he fires it a certain way, it'll swap gravity around, and he does some really awesome stunts. The fights are out of this world again in this episode. We've kind of been missing on those a little bit in the last few episodes, but it's been the choreography in this episode alone. Jesus Christ, I'm a sucker for good fight choreography in anything. Really good stuff. Let me get some water. Hold on. So, they're fighting, of course, fighting some Jamato and stuff. And eventually, Jean, demorphs, whatever. And in comes Beroba talking shit to him again. She's like, oh, it looks like our chosen combatants are finally fighting again, the destined rivals. And Michinaga comes in with the, Jamato buckle and the, zombie buckle. And he's fighting Geats again. They're fighting each other, whatever, going back and forth. At the same time, Neon and Kawa are there transformed, and they're Neon got Fever Buckle from her supporter. I'm pretty sure Kuan, who we saw last week, and so she has double beats. And then Keiwa actually has this really awesome conversation with is it Kekara, the little frog statue guy who's actually a real person. You'll see that next week. So they're talking, and he says, I'm just not sure what we're really fighting for. I feel like we're always fighting all the time, and I never really understand why. I just want to, I want to be able to help people. I feel like that's part of what being a Kamen Rider is. And he goes, you know what, my boy, you're right. You are the truest definition of a Kamen Rider. It is to protect people. It is to keep people safe, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, hell yeah, you know what, Keiwa, you are. Like, out of anybody on this show, you're the most honorable, like, hero that there is in this entire show. So, yeah, you know what? You are. My speaker's right there, my microphone. And he gets his little, item box, opens up, it's Boost. So he uses Ninja and Boost, and he gets some really cool fight scenes of him actually swapping the parts around. At one point, the Jamato do that one Ja strike where they step on the ground, and the vines come at him. He like dodges it like horizontally, does the revolve on, transforms, and just beats ass with Boost on the top and Ninja on the bottom. Jesus Christ. So he's kicking ass and whatever. Daichi gets involved again. He's in there being annoying, a little shithead, honestly. And all these fights are going on and everything, and then here comes Beroba, and they're like, whoa, like what she's doing, what is she doing, what's going on here? My girl transforms, and before this, we get quite the revelation. She's talking shit to Jean while Michinaga and Ace are fighting, and she's like, I feel like you should tell them the truth. She goes, this old world is so annoying. And some other little mentions and stuff. Ace starts putting it together, and he calls them out, and he's like, hey, I got it figured out. And they're like, what? He's like, I got it figured out. I know who you are. He's like, I totally got it. He's like, you talked about dimension hopping, and you talked about, this old ancient world and how boring it is, and your technology seems pretty advanced. You guys are from the far future, aren't you? And she reveals it, that they are from the far future. Not only that, we get the revelation near the end, which we'll get to some other stuff in a minute, that the DGP in general is literally people, the audience and the sponsors are from the future, and they literally pick out time periods and things from different time periods and stuff like that to be part of the DGP to fight and to for their entertainment. And and so basically like forcing the past to like entertain them. And I was like, it makes sense because of how advanced the laser race riser technology is compared to the Desire Driver, and just certain things that just like didn't quite match up, and how weird the DGP staff was, and how weird Beroba is, and Jean, and like all the sponsor people we've met so far are very like odd in the way that they present themselves. So yeah, they are from the far future, utilizing the DGP for entertainment basically. And so Ace figured that out, and he's pissed about it. He's mad. He's like, it's essentially, I'm sure he's just like, in his head, he's like, this is bullshit. Like, you're literally like sacrificing human lives for your entertainment. Like, seriously? So I think that the series might probably end with him finding a way to stop the DGP entirely. But yeah, that's a big revelation. Then Beroba, because the secret was spoiled, she said she pulls out her own laser raise riser, and her Beroba ID card thing, she transforms. Except that her, and also Kuan and Kekara, their rider forms are not like Jean's where it's a normal suit. Oh, no. She transforms and henshins into a giant fucking minotaur, like this giant red minotaur thing, flies up into the sky and does her final attack, smacks the ground, sends out a shockwave everywhere. It looks like it kills everybody. It seems to like reset something or like destroy the Jamato forest, whatever. Archimedel's really pissed. Like, no, I grew them so much. I did so well. No, don't do this, blah, blah, blah. Even though we see Jamato in the next episode, so I don't think it killed all of them. But yeah, so quite the shakeup, and that's how the episode ends, with her like shockwave going out and destroying things. So I have lots of questions, especially why she's so concerned with the power of the Desire Goddess when she has the ability to smack the ground and like reset the dimension that they're in, or the time. I don't even know what's going on. I'm really into it that they're from the future. I think that it's a really cool revelation, and it's really nice juxtaposed next to what we think we know about Ace in terms of him maybe being from years and years, thousands of years ago, from because he has the ancient Roman coin or whatever. So again, it really messes with a lot of things of like it shakes up a lot of what we knew before, and I like that. I love it when Ryder takes chances like this to really change up the status quo and do something different, and I really, 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 really commend them for it. I really liked the episode. I liked that even though it wasn't a DGP round, it felt like one still because they still had a goal of trying to get the driver back for Chiram. There's actually a lot in the beginning where Chiram's like getting slapped a bunch by the lady because he keeps talking and sounding like an idiot. I like that Niram was just like as much as he could being a hard ass about telling them the truth about what was going on. So yeah, it's assumed, like I said, that the revelation, like I said, is that the sponsors, any of the DGP staff, and the audience that's watching it are all from the future, and they're from the future sending like this technology back to the past and having people in the past fighting it for their entertainment, utilizing different parts of history within those fights. So I definitely get a sense that maybe they've kidnapped people from different timelines and like forced them to do things like that. That's why I feel like Ace is sort of trapped, sort of. There's going to be some dark side with that where he's been trapped in it trying to find his mom for this long, and that it was never intended to be that way. But it just kind of happened, you know what I mean? So, again, quite the shakeup, and it was quite impressive that they did it the way that they did. Again, I wasn't expecting it, but I like that, and I like that we had a midway, shakeup like that. Something I feel like was kind of missing a little bit from Revice. There wasn't as much shocking things in that changed up the whole status quo. And not that I want that to be a thing forever and it be a trend that we get used to and we're not surprised by it anymore. But it's nice to see it, for them to change it up, because what we were already like working with before we knew that was still really engaging. We have a really awesome cast of characters. We have these 4 riders. We have, Keiwa, Michinaga, Ace, and Neon, all with their own respective goals, their own identities, their own, allies, their own goals and what they want to do, whatever. I already said goals. And they're very unique from each other, plus all the other extra characters that figure into that as well. So I'm really excited about this. We did also get some stuff over the weekend, some leaked pictures from the magazines and whatever for Boost Mark 2. What that looks like, the buckle looks really cool. What the form looks like, oh Jesus Christ, it's fucking beautiful. Oh my god. And also Laser Boost Mark 2, which is the laser riser like gun part attached to the Desire Driver, along with Boost Mark 2. And both of them look awesome, honestly. I like how both the forms look. I like Boost Mark 2 a little bit more just because it leans more into like the Fox aesthetic for Geats. There was also some stuff that showed, I think, we're pretty sure that Buff was going to get access to Command Twin eventually and have that form, so maybe he'll get over being infected by the Jamato stuff again. So that was really cool, seeing that he was going to be using, again, and I like this whole thing with this season where anybody can use any of these different buckles. Like, it's not specific to one rider only. There are certain ones, like, Boost and Magnum pair well with, Geats and whatever, but anybody can technically use them, and I really like that. I really like that a lot. That aesthetic is really cool. The mix and match part of it is like my favorite thing. But I was very impressed with this episode. I really was. I was really, really impressed with it. Completely shocked. I was watching it actually out here. I think it was the other day in the morning before the boys before the boys got home from my parents. And I was like, and I was like, what? I'm like, my show. So, overall, really good episode. Really liked it. But let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this week's episode of Geats? Did you love it, hate it, in the middle? What are your theories going forward on what we're going to do for the story? It shows next week, like, things kind of being, like, changed around. Like, everybody's there, but they seem to, like, not have their memory fully. So Murray's still part of it. She's even worried about in this episode, like, I was really used to this, taking care of this world, and sad to see it go, blah, blah, blah. It shows her presenting, what would assume to be Desire Drivers to people. So I don't know if, like, Baraba's in control necessarily, or what we're exactly doing with that. I don't know. And I'm hoping we get a bit more on that. We do see the other sponsors transforming, so Kuan and Keikara transforming as well. Just setting the stage for where we're going next with the story. I'm really, really interested in where it's going to go from here. But yeah, as far as content this week, we got the my score, 9.5, probably out of 10. For content this week, Don Brothers 49 review will be up alongside this. And then also, I'm hoping on the podcast this week, Henshin's Homies, if you haven't subscribe to us on YouTube right there in the description below, should be there. We go live Friday, 7:45/8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, somewhere around there, for about an hour and some change. Having some awesome guests on, community guests and stuff like that, talking about Toku stuff. This week, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can get a hold of the guy behind Immortal Red Fox, indie tokusatsu series that I'm really interested in, is getting really popular and is doing some awesome stuff. So I'm going to have him on, kind of talk about his stuff and how he does things, whatever. So join us on Friday for that live or as a podcast, wherever you can get podcasts at, we're there pretty much. But thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, watching the video, sharing, all that really good stuff. I really, really appreciate it. We just hit 75, 77 subscribers on the Henshins and Homies YouTube channel at least. And here we're just about hovering around 422 subscribers on this channel. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for the support. But until next time, stay hooked on heroes. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.